Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show, and I'm back from well, I don't want to say that, but I'm back. Oh, I tell you, it's been a long time. It's been 7 days, I believe, maybe 8. And the problem is finding radios that are multifunction in that not only just AM and FM, and I may have to start just reviewing AM and FM radios because I'm having a terrible time finding AM, FM shortwave radios. It's new ones. Well, yeah, new ones. There's just not that many on the market. I even been deep searching Chinese websites on eBay, for instance, and I did find one that looked a little bit interesting. It was unique. I don't know if it would be a good receiver, but it was a unique radio. And I was having so much trouble ordering it, I just finally gave up. So I decided, so that in order that you won't completely forget about me, I would do a show today. Now, it's warm in my office. It's nearly 86 degrees. Our air conditioning system is poor. We have a two-story house, and the air conditioning downstairs is great. But upstairs, it's not too good. And in my office where I am now, with all these computers on and radios on, it's really hot. But anyway, so you can hear the fans in the background that are assisting the air conditioning. And I apologize for that. So the other question is, why am I doing a hangout that I didn't really announce? Well, because doing a hangout on the air gives me several options. It lets me show you a product live on my camera, and I can flip to my desktop and show you some information on my desktop, which is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to look at, in detail, the manual on this radio. This radio has a lot of new features. When you first look at this radio, it looks like a S-350, the Tecsun S-350, but it's not. It's way beyond it. Now, the only place that I know of right now that you can get this radio is at ANON-CO. That's where this one came from. And it's not cheap, but it's got a lot of features. It's got good reception, which is hard to prove right now with shortwave propagation in the toilet right now. So it's kind of hard to prove that. And I'm not going to try to prove it today. And plus, it's 2:30 in the afternoon here in Clearwater, Florida. So reception naturally is not the best this time of day. It's better right now. It's better late night. And I'm not a late night person. So that's where that goes. The solar flux index has been 68 for the past week. We really need it above 100, at least 75. It ain't going to get there anytime soon. So anyway, let's take a close look at this. And I'm going to switch to my desktop, and I'm going to switch to the Anon Co. And I don't know how you pronounce it, that place I talked about. So let me share my screen. And first, you'll get this mirror effect, and I'll close that down so you don't see that. Oh, I did the wrong page. Here we go. I meant to have that page up. Okay, let's get rid of, whoops. Let's hide this out of the way, and there we go. Now, here is the radio, and if we close this, this is the radio on ANON-CO. This is the only obvious place to get this. You can't get this on Amazon for some reason. I'm sad to say, because it's a pretty good radio, and I'd put it in my Amazon store, but I can't. So here it is. It's $268 right now. It hasn't gone up in price very much. Unlike the Grundig 750, which has gone off the charts. I think I got mine for like $268, or that's what they were selling for at the time, and now they're over $300. So anyway, what we're going to do is I've got a modified, where are we going to find it here? Here is a manual, and I've marked up the manual, and we're going to go through it. I don't know how exciting this is going to be for you. If you're not interested in this radio, you might want to skip this show, because I'm going to go into detail on this radio and its operation, which I haven't done before. I did a review. I went over the features. I did some reception testing, but I didn't go into depth to try to explain or to justify the cost. And that's what I'm going to try to do today. Again, I'm not selling it. I can't put it in my Amazon store. Amazon doesn't carry it. Some people say all I am is a salesman trying to sell stuff that's in my store. No, I'm not. That's just a way that you can support my shows. All right. So let me go back to here, and I'll stop sharing for a moment. No, I didn't mean to do that. No, okay, so close that. So okay, so we're going to go through the manual here. And I marked it up and highlighted some things. Now here's the page, and you can get this manual online. Just go do a search for it, and you can find it, and you can find out about this radio before you buy it. So it's AM, FM, shortwave, and longwave. It doesn't have an airbag. When you are charging it, and it has a built-in rechargeable battery, when you are charging it, up here in this corner, you will get an indication of the charging time, how long it's been charging. And then here's the other various displays. Here's the battery level, how much is left in the battery. Here's the signal strength indicator. Here's a sleep timer indicator if you want to use a sleep timer. Here's an alarm if you want to use the radio as an alarm clock. This will tell you that that function is turned on. Okay, move on down here. Now here's the front panel. And what I wanted to point out here is this radio has AM bandwidth. And it has two sets of bandwidth, one if you're in AM mode and one if you're in single sideband. Yes, this radio has single sideband. And here they are, you get a bunch of options. And this comes in handy, for instance, when you're trying to listen to single sideband and there's another station right on top of the station you're trying to listen to, and as long as it's in voice and not music, you can narrow that bandwidth down and cut off that interfering station. That's the idea. So that's that. Got a bunch of buttons up here for, oh, that daggum thing, cut it off. Here we go. For setting the alarm, setting the time, changing from view frequency, always called it variable frequency, and view memory. Okay, because this has memory. You can store frequencies in the memory. And then you got the AM norm and FM stereo button. You got the upper sideband and lower sideband. Then you got an LCD display, memory and long wave on and off, ATS function, remote control. That's another big seller of this radio, is it does have remote control, and I'll be showing you that in a minute. Big tuning knob, and it almost feels like it's metal, but I don't think it is. It almost feels like it's metal though. And you got volume control, bass control, and treble control, and fine tuning. So you got big tuning, fine tuning. All right, now let's take a look at the radio. Now I'm going to have to do a switch here. I go to here and I stop sharing, and then we're back to my camera so you can actually see the radio. You can see the buttons up here, the knobs. I can say these almost feel like metal, but I don't think they are. Yeah, they're plastic. Big power on and off button. Over here we have internal antenna, external antenna. I'm using the external antenna right now. We have DX local. We have line out left and right. They're individual. Headphones jack for stereo listening. And on this side, we have absolutely nothing. Nothing here. And then on the back, we have, if I can get it turned around here, we have 2 antenna connections. This is a long wire connection here for high impedance antennas. And this is a B and C connector for 50 ohms, which is what I'm using right now. I've got it hooked to my G5RV antenna. And this is used for FM and shortwave. All right, let's go back over here. Now, this little light here, this blue light, this tells you that the remote control is activated. Here is the remote control. All right, let's go back to the manual. There's the manual. Share. And share. And move this out of the way. We go back to the manual. So there's the buttons I showed you. This one I forgot is the DC USB charger port. Like I say, it has a built-in battery, or you can add batteries. And this high impedance input is for the AM. It actually works on long wave, short wave, and medium wave. Okay. Line out jack. You can hook this to a recorder or your computer. Headphones jack, battery compartment, 2 18650 batteries. Matter of fact, let me see if I can show you that possibly without breaking the antenna off. No, sorry that. I can't see where the camera's pointing anymore either. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. It is hard to get off, which is good. It's not going to fall off on you. But anyway, that's where 2 of these big high capacity batteries go. All right. Let's hide this and get out of the way. There's the remote control. It has all kinds of functions on the remote control. You can use this keypad here for direct tuning or selecting a memory location that you've stored. This button in the center is for choosing either variable frequency, I call it, or view memory, they call it. There's a scan button down here, so you can scan the band in different. And you can either scan the memory locations you've stored, or you can scan the bands. And there's 2 ways to do that. One way, let me go back to the camera. Back to the camera, Tom. Okay, so we'll stop that, and I'll take it back to the camera. Okay, so on the remote, you have, and for some reason on YouTube, they make this screen backwards, so I'm going to have to look at it directly instead of on the camera. We have SW minus and SW plus. And these down here are all for the ATS function in the various modes, medium wave, FM, and there's 2 shortwave. One of them, I believe the SW minus, will scan all of the international broadcast bands. It won't scan the whole shortwave band. It will scan the international broadcast bands, and if it finds a signal that it thinks it's a real station, it may not be, it may be noise, it will save it in the memory and then continue scanning until it goes through all the bands. Now, the other one, the SW Plus, will only scan the international broadcast band you're in. And that's helpful for a couple of reasons. And the main reason is it doesn't take very long to scan one band, but it takes a long time, like 5 minutes, to scan all of the bands. So you may just want to scan in one band. What else do we got? We got volume over here, up and down. Now, the way that works is they say to set the volume at max and then reduce the volume on here. So the remote only changes the volume depending on what you've set it here. So if you set the volume 0 here, you're not going to get any volume using this. So you got to set it at some higher level on the radio. Okay, hope that makes sense. What else do we have on here that's exciting? Up here is the buttons to delete one of the memory locations if you don't want to use it anymore, or you can delete all of them and start over. And then this is the sleep function right there. You could set how long you want the radios to stay on before it goes off. That's it. Okay, now by using the manual, I can go over things that I've missed before. So let's go back to the manual. Here's the manual. Oh, I'm not sharing it. Okay. Share the manual. Okay, so here's the manual. So we've gone over, I think, everything on here. Down here is a button to set the, when you're on the medium wave band, to set it to 9 or 10 kilohertz increments, depending on whether you're in the United States or someplace else. Okay, let's go down here. There's the 2 batteries that you can insert. Oh, it's raining outside. Well, that'll help because it'll cool things off. That'll help a lot. Okay, how to turn on or off the radio. Now, this is a little trick too. To reduce power consumption when the radio is not used for 1 hour, the IR sensor LED light automatically turns off, meaning that the remote control function is deactivated. Press any key on the radio to reactivate. Also, you have to turn the radio on first at the radio with the red button. Then the remote can turn the radio on and off. So if you've got the radio off by using the red button on the radio, the remote is inactive. Okay. That's a little more detail there. Volume control. Now here's what I was talking about. The volume output level is the combined result of the adjustment made on the radio and the remote control. That's what I was talking about. Now we're talking about the various modes, FM frequency coverage settings. And this is also where you can change the band for FM because it's different in different parts of the world. In the radio off mode, press and hold the FM set button, which is on the remote. Okay, down here it says it on the bottom of the remote. And then press repeatedly to select your desired starting point. So like in the United States, it would be 87 megahertz, I believe. Maybe it's, yeah, I don't know if it's 87 or 88. Anyway, moving on. Antenna selection and connection. I showed you that. There's 2 connections. And then there's the local DX and the internal antenna or the external antenna. And if you're going to use an external antenna or even the internal antenna, in your house, on shortwave, you're going to get interference from other things that are in your house. So if you want to, I suggest on shortwave, use this connector here. You will use shielded coax cable to go to an outside antenna. That's where you'll get your best results. And here's an example of doing it. I say this is doing it the wrong way, because here you're connected and get to this right here, and this right here is going to pick up RF noise in your room. I suggest for shortwave using an external antenna outside of your room. And then, of course, you've got to flip that switch to external. Here's an example. Here's a dipole antenna, coax shielded cable, B and C connector connected to the back of the radio. That's what I've said. Here's an example of a long wire antenna high impedance, connecting the antenna here and then the ground of some kind here. And this shows you using the internal antenna or an external antenna for FM. Now, frequency band selection. To turn on off the long wave band, I've never received anything in long wave here in Florida. In the radio off mode, press and hold the long wave on off button. And then now you can tune long wave as opposed to, I think, shortwave. I haven't tried it because can't get anything here. This shows you the various views. The VF they call view frequency. You're actually looking at the frequency, or the view memory, where you're looking at the frequency of a memory location. When the memory contains no storage station, you either cleared it or you've never stored it. It is not possible to switch between those two modes. It'll only go to the VF mode because there's nothing in memory. Auto scan. In the VF mode, variable or view frequency mode, press and hold the VF/VM button on the radio to scan. So you can start scanning through the bands. Now, this is not scanning and storing. This is just scanning. So that's the auto scanning tuning. It shows you how to use the keypad to direct tune. Now, normally, like the S-350, in this radio also, it doesn't have a keypad. So you have to manually tune everything. But this one has the remote and the keypad you can direct tune. That is a great add-on to this radio. Okay, AM bandwidth, I told you about that. That's the button over here. For selecting the bandwidths in either long wave, medium wave, short wave, or single sideband. They're different. And then it tells you why. As I said before, because you might have two stations on top of each other. And it talks about FM stereo, which you cannot get stereo out of the built-in speaker. You can only get it out of the headphones or earphones jack. This tells you how many memories it has. It has 650 memories, but they're divided down into this. FM gets 100, long wave gets 100, medium wave gets 100, short wave gets 250, and single sideband gets 100. They are separate. You can't add the 100 single sideband to the 250 on shortwave or the long wave 100, which I would never use. You can't add that to the shortwave. So shortwave, you get 250. That's a bunch. Okay, this is for semi-auto storage, where you tune the stations and you press memory, the M button, and it will store it into a memory location. I don't use that too much. I'm either tuning manually or I'm using the auto tuning and storage, which I've told you about. And that works on FM, medium wave, long wave, and single sideband. And here is the two modes in single sideband I told you about. Either scanning all of the shortwave bands or just the selected band you're in. All right. And there's a note here, when selecting the AT function for all those modes, previously stored radio stations are replaced by the newly found stations. When using the AT function in the shortwave B mode, which is B up here is just the single band, previously stored stations will not be replaced. All newly found stations will be stored in the blank memories. So that's another reason why you'd use that method. The ATS function, as it says up here, it clears everything you've got in the memory, and then it starts writing. So if you had something in there you wanted to keep, it's gone. All right. I think we're getting near the end of this. Yeah, we're about 3/4 through this. Let me go back and see if I can show you anything on the radio again. Stop sharing this for a minute and we'll show the radio again. Band select here and the band width select here. So you select the, whoops, I got turned off. It won't work with them. I got turned off. So I'm in long wave, shortwave, excuse me, FM, shortwave, medium wave. So that's how you select the various bands. So I have long wave enabled right now, although I'm not going to get anything on it. All right, let's go back. See, I thought there was something I wanted to show you on the remote. No, I don't think so. Let's see, what is the display button do? Oh, that switches between the clock and the frequency. Hitting the display, oops, display button there. Okay, let's go back to the manual, see where we're at. No, gotta do share. Share. And then get this out of the way and hide this. Okay, now we got listening to stored stations that you stored either automatically or manually. Okay, the manual way is to put it in VM mode. You can either use the remote or on the radio and then manually just tune frequencies. That would be the mode that you would typically use to find stations manually. All right, the next one is to auto browse stored location. So you're in the VM mode. Oh, I take that back. In method 1, you are manually browsing the stored location, not just manually tuning. This is all about stored location. I'm sorry. Auto browsing stored location. In the VM mode, press and hold the VF/VM button on the radio or the scan button on the remote, and it will start scanning the memory locations that you put frequencies in. And the device will play each stored station for about 5 seconds and go on to the next one. To stop browsing, rotate the tuning knob on the radio or press any key on the remote. That's how you say you program up the radio to your favorite stations, be FM stations or shortwave stations. You can go into the memory mode, VM mode, and push and hold that VM button, and it will scan your stations and play each station or each memory location for 5 seconds. Oh, there we go. Direct key in memory location. There, you're in the VM mode. You use the numeric keypad and you punch in a number. For instance, it says here 023 will give you location, memory location 23. All right, that's it. And then here's how you can delete stored locations. I got this highlighted, but I'm not going to go over it. Like I say, you can get the manual off the internet and read about that. Now, this is a function that I'm like, wow, that's a cool idea. Is once you've, say you've gone through and you did manually searching for stations and store them, and you were like all over the band. And so you got memory location has WWV at 5 megahertz, and memory location 2 has a station at 7.215, and memory location 3 has a station at 3.79. You can on the remote, it will also duplicate stations. If you put in WWV at 5 megahertz twice in two memory locations, it will free up that one. And to do that, you turn off the radio, press and hold this button here, or the 0 key on the remote, until POC blinks in the upper right-hand corner of the LCD up here. The device is reorganizing all storage stations. When complete, the display goes blank to show the alarm time in the upper right-hand corner. So it deletes duplicates and it puts everything in numerical frequency order. So even though I had saved them 1, 2, 3, but they weren't in order, it'll put them in order. So that's a cool function they thought of. I don't know who came up with that. That's pretty cool. This is how you set the alarm. I'm not going to go over that. Sleep timer. To listen to stereo, you have to use the earphone jack. And backlight, it has a backlight. Let's see if it stays on backlight. Remaining backlight is lit for 5 seconds after operating any key or knob. To turn the backlight on continuous, yeah, that's what I want. Turn the radio off, then press and hold key 3 on the remote until the on appears on the LCD. Press and hold again to switch back to intelligent lighting function. I like to have the backlight on all the time, even though it does drain the battery. Okay, then you have a back key on, let's see, I'm going to look at, yes, you have a back key right here on the remote that goes to the previous station. Oh, turn on the tune your desired station, then press and hold the back button on the remote control to store it as the return station. Whoa, now that's a cool function. These guys are really, I guess they've added a lot of neat features to this radio that the S-350 didn't, and many other radios don't have. So when tuning other frequencies, press the back button at any time to return to that memory on that frequency. So if you have a favorite frequency, like WWV is my favorite frequency for telling me whether my radio is working, my antenna is working, what else. I did see some rumors that WWV may go away. Damn, that's terrible. It's a different subject, though, and I'm not going to discuss it there. It's sad. Then it tells you how to charge it. If you're not using for extended period of time, remove batteries. That's what I always try to tell you. That don't leave batteries in your radio. They will leak and destroy your radio. And then troubleshoot. Okay, let's see. Oh, what are we doing here? Firmware reset. There's a button right here. I think it's behind. Let's see. Where is it? I think it's behind the tuning knob. Yeah, I think this, yeah, this is a tuning knob missing. It's behind there. So you have to take the tuning knob off and just pull it off. And there's a reset button right there. Sometimes with these microcontroller controlled radios, they'll get confused and the radio stops working all of a sudden. So sometimes you have to do a reset. And then down here are some of the bands. This thing will tune the entire shortwave band from 1.711 to 29.999 at 1 kilohertz or 5 kilohertz tuning steps. While using single sideband reception for the above bands, the tuning steps are 10 hertz and 1 kilohertz. That's awesome. That's a shortwave radio. Again, that drives the price up. And then it tells you some of the sensitivities. Here's the memory storage again. And it uses two 18650 lithium batteries. And it uses two AAA batteries in the remote. Or it can be externally charged on the USB port. I don't think it will work if it has no batteries and you hook it up to the external charger port. I don't think so. I haven't used it that way. I probably should have. I apologize, but I have not done that. Okay, let's go back one more time. We will stop sharing. And there we're back. And I think that's about it. So again, it's a fairly expensive radio, but it has a lot of features that I've shown you, tried to show you in detail. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. The beauty of it is this remote. If you lose this remote or you damage it, then the radio is not as valuable. Without that remote, it's probably only worth 150, maybe 200. I think it was released last year, late last year, early this year. That's how new it is. It's a new radio. But my problem is I can't find any new shortwave radios. I bought a couple of these cheapo. Let me just show you what I mean. These cheapo things, and yeah, they're good in a pinch, but if you're really interested in shortwave radio, this ain't going to do it. This ain't good. It has no external antenna jack. So you're going to be, if you're inside, you're going to be suffering with getting RF noise in on this jack, on this antenna, even though you keep it collapsed and hooked and took the antenna to it. You're not going to be able to easily put shielded cable to this. So, like I say, in a pinch, these are pretty good radios for under $20. And this is multi-function. But if you're serious about shortwave, whoa. And I wish shortwave was better. It will get better in the winter. How much better? I don't know, but it will get better. So anyway, that's the show. I'm sorry I haven't been around for a while. I can't find any radios. If you see any radios that you think I might be interested in reviewing, please let me know. Like I say, I did find that one radio, but it was only sold by one dealer that I could find. And the getting authorized to purchase them turned into a nightmare, and I just gave up. I won't mention who the dealer was. Well-known dealer. Anyway, and that's a good thing because they're trying to protect you from fraud. That's it. Have a great day. Hopefully I can come up with something. Maybe I'll just start reviewing AM and FM radios for a while until I can get a new radio in, or maybe some more of the high-end SDRs like this one here. This is the SDR Play. There is quite a few high-end ones. SDR Play also has two new radios, This is the 1. This is the original. There's a 1A, and then there's a 2. Trying to snatch a 1A at a good price where somebody is upgraded to a 2. 2 is a little costly for me. Plus, on my Amazon store, I only get credits. I don't get any money. So unless it's sold in the Amazon store where I could use my credits, I can't buy it. Or I can, but I can't. I've said enough. I've said enough. Maybe too much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.